Welcome back to RetroWheelsVault, where horsepower never dies. I'm RetroWheelsVault 4, guiding you through chrome dreams and gasoline legends. Today we're diving into the 1971 Plymouth GTX, a muscle car so bold it growled louder than your neighbor's lawnmower at 6 a.m. Because modern cars forgot what muscle means. Let's get into it. Here's a fun little tidbit that'll make you smile next time you see those three bold letters GTX. Ever wonder what they actually stand for? Well, officially nothing. Yeah, the name GTX doesn't have a dictionary definition or a hidden Mopar acronym behind it. But unofficially, it's got swear for days. Plymouth wanted a name that whispered European sophistication while screaming American horsepower at the same time. So, they took the idea of GT, short for Grand Touring, and added an X for the extra punch. Think of it like ordering a milkshake and getting it spiked with rocket fuel. GT plus extra. It was all about performance, luxury, and attitude rolled into one chrome-plated package. GTX didn't need to explain itself. It was the kind of name that walked into a room wearing sunglasses indoors and dared you to question it. It said, "I'll outclass you at the valet stand and outgun you at the stoplight." So next time someone asks what GTX means, just smile and say, it means whatever you want, as long as it's fast, loud, and has tire smoke in its rear view. Because when you're this cool, definitions are optional. The 1971 Plymouth GTX started onto the scene with a brand new look thanks to the redesigned B-body platform. Think of it like a muscle-bound athlete swapping a boxy suit for a sleek tracksuit. Everything was tighter, smoother, and ready to tear up the streets. Plymouth embraced the fuselage styling craze, giving the GTX a curvier, more aerodynamic body that looked like it belonged on a jet, not a drag strip. With its raked windshield, hidden cowl, and that dramatic loop-style front bumper hugging a deeply recessed grille and headlights, it was as if the GTX was permanently squinting, ready to throw down. Sadly, 1971 marked the final year the GTX would fly solo as a standalone model. The convertible option had already waved goodbye, leaving only the hardtop to carry the muscle torch. But what a hardtop it was! Wide, low, and aggressive with sculpted lines that made it look like it was moving even when parked. It didn't just arrive at the party. It crash-landed with the force of a sonic boom. In short, the 71 GTX was a beautiful brute. Part street fighter, part runway model, closing out its era with a rumble and a roar. Under the hood, the 1971 Plymouth GTX still packed some serious punch, but the muscle was starting to get a little polite. Blame tightening emission regulations and insurance companies acting like overprotective parents at a drag race. The base 440 cubic inch V8 with a 4-barrel carb still offered a hefty 370 ponies, down just 5 ponies from the year before, thanks to lower compression and quicker acting choke system. Think of it like trying to sprint while sipping a kale smoothie. You're still fast, just a little less rude about it. Then there was the legendary 440 6-pack. 3 2-barrel carburetors stacked like a pancake breakfast with the side of tire smoke. Even with the new regulations, it still cranked out 385 horsepower. Not bad for a car that could still rattle windows and scare house pets. And if you were truly unhinged, you took the box for the 426 HEMI. 425 horses of pure mechanical vengeance. But only 30 brave souls did, making the 71 GTX with the HEMI a rare beast indeed. Still, rising insurance costs put the brakes on sales. Only 2,942 GTXs rolled off the line in 1971. But make no mistake, every engine option still came ready to punch holes in the horizon. The 1971 Plymouth GTX gave drivers a choice in how they wanted to unleash all that V8 fury, either with finesse or with full-on brute force. On one hand, you had the 4-speed manual, perfect for those who liked their driving experience with the sight of adrenaline and a little leg workout. Dropping the clutch in this thing was like pulling the pin on a hand grenade. You knew something loud and fast was about to happen. On the flip side, the A727 3-speed torque flight automatic transmission was your smooth-talking street brawler. Known for its durability and lightning-fast shifts, this gearbox could take abuse like a bar stool on a biker's bar. It didn't need your help to shift, it just did the job, fast and furious, letting you focus on burning rubber and leaving your competition coughing in your rearview mirror. Both transmissions were mounted to a tough-as-nails drivetrain, sending torque straight to the rear wheels like a sledgehammer to the pavement. Whether you were rolling through your gears or letting the automatic do the talking, the GTX never backed down. It wasn't just a car. It was a rolling declaration that subtlety was officially cancelled. The 1971 Plymouth GTX didn't just go fast in a straight line. It had the bonus to handle the ride with some actual composure, too. Underneath that sleek fuselage body was a chassis that was more than just muscle. It had a touch of finesse, like a heavyweight boxer who could also dance. Up front, the suspension setup typically included tubular control arms and adjustable coilovers, which gave the GTX sharper handling and a smoother ride. Imagine a linebacker wearing ballet slippers, still packing a punch but with a surprising amount of grace. Those coilovers let you fine-tune your ride, whether you were cruising the boulevard or lining up for Saturday night at the Strip. Out back, things got a little more old school with leaf springs doing most of the heavy lifting. Rugged and reliable, and they gave the GTX the kind of rear-end support you'd expect from a car designed to launch like a rocket when the light turned green. Performance options were available, giving even more bite to that back end when things got twisty or smoky. In short, the chassis and suspension wasn't just about brute strength. They gave the GTX control, poise, and just enough swagger to handle all that power without breaking a sweat. Step inside this muscle-bound roller and you're greeted by an interior that's part fighter jet, part gentleman's lounge. The factory gate is set front and center, ready to report every mechanical heartbeat, and the 150 mph speedometer wasn't just for show. It was a promise. This car meant business, and it wasn't afraid to brag about it. You got power steering to help tame that beast under the hood, and a standard AM radio, perfect for blasting rock tunes or catching up on the weather before melting tires. Want to get fancy? A console-matic cassette tape player was available too, so you could cruise in style with your favorite mixtape, assuming you remember which side was the good one. Bucket seats came standard, offering just enough hug to keep you steady during hard launches, and optional vinyl upholstery added a touch of Vegas glam. The premium wood-grain center console and interior trim package brought a dash of class to all that muscle, like wearing a tuxedo to a bar fight. All in all, the GTX's interior was a well-balanced mix of comfort and attitude. It was where 1970s swagger met performance, making every drive feel like a high-octane rock concert from the driver's seat. At the heart of the GTX's tire roasting antics was its beefy 9.25-inch posi differential, a mechanical marvel designed to keep both rear wheels spinning in glorious unison. No one-tire fire here. This setup made sure all that horsepower didn't just disappear into a puff of smoke and regret. Whether launching up the line or powering through a corner, the posi rear end bit down like a junkyard dog on a stake. It was the unsung hero under the trunk, turning raw power into motion, grip, and grins. Simply put, it made sure this muscle car walked the walk, not just talked the talk. The Plymouth GTX was no shrinking violet. It stretched out a generous 203.2 inches long, making it about as long as two compact cars parked nose to tail. At 79.1 inches wide, it had the kind of broad shoulder stance that made you think twice before cutting it off in traffic. This car wasn't just built to turn heads, it was built to block lanes like a friendly but firm bouncer. Standing 52.9 inches tall, the GTX sat low to the ground, hugging the asphalt like it was ready to pounce at any moment. Its 115-inch wheelbase gave it a stable platform, balancing the muscle and making sure it didn't flop around like a fish out of water on corners. All that steel added up to a curb weight of around 3,760 pounds, heavy enough to feel solid, but light enough to rocket forward with a growl. Think of it like a heavyweight champion with surprising agility, big, powerful, and ready to throw down, but still smooth enough to glide across the street with style. The GTX's dimensions weren't just specs, they were a statement. The 71 GTX was like that tough, no-nonsense friend who could bench press a refrigerator but still know how to dress sharp. Its strengths were clear: brutal engine options that packed serious muscle, a sleek fuselage design that turned heads, and a chassis that balanced brute force with surprising control. The GTX could launch up the line like a rocket, bite into corners with adjustable suspension, and carry you in style with its comfortable, well-appointed interior. It was muscle car mojo wrapped in a smooth, aggressive package. Part Street Fighter, part showstopper. But no hero is without its flaws. The GTX's biggest weakness? It was a gas guzzler with a temperamental appetite for premium fuel. Think of it as a high-maintenance diva who demanded the best and never settled for less. The weight meant it wasn't winning any drag races against lighter competitors, and the insurance and emission crackdowns had already started clipping its wings. Plus, dropping the convertible option left some fans feeling a little less free-spirited. Still, despite its quirks, the GTX remains a legend, flawed, fierce, and full of character, just like the muscle car era itself. And there you have it, the 1971 Plymouth GTX, a muscle car that roared like a lion but carried itself with the sleek confidence of a panther. It was last hurrah for a true American muscle legend, blending power, style, and a bit of rebellious charm, all in one polished package. Whether you're a gearhead who loves to feel the rumble in your chest, or someone who just appreciates a car with a personality, the GTX delivers. Now here's a question to kickstart the conversation. If you get the GTX for a spin today, would you let it roar freely or tame it with modern upgrades? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear all the hot takes, wild dreams, and maybe even a few crazy road trip stories. If you enjoyed this ride down muscle memory lane, don't forget to like and subscribe. After all, at RetroWheelsVault, we believe muscle cars aren't just machines. They're legends with hearts that still beat loud and proud. Keep it loud, keep it classic. See you next time where the rubber meets the road and history hits the gas.